Hello, Reformers, and welcome back to Warsword Conquest Goblin Edition. Now, when we left off, we were surrounded by a huge amount of pirate vassals, and, well, I decided to extract myself from that situation because, well, let's just say that I feel we were outnumbered, and, of course, Ratlob only had 10% HP remaining, so, well, it would have been a good idea to restore ourselves, and I think, considering they still had a huge amount of units available, they would have been able to siege it very, very quickly indeed. Now, do bear in mind that one is a siege tower, however, so that is going to obviously cause them to take it a little slower, but they obviously have already taken it, so there is that to take into account, so that's really quite unfortunate. But if we had defended, we would have had a reasonable chance at defending against them, but if we had been taken out, 10% HP, we still have not fully recovered, as you can tell, but 10% HP would not have been enough, in my opinion at least, for Ratlob to be able to sustain such a vicious offensive from the pirates there. So yes, we have returned to attempt to deal some damage to the various Dwarven units in our lands right now. As we can see, we only have 2 towns remaining with 3 castles within it. And we have dwarves as well as Kingdom of Araby vassals running around here. Now, let's just see here for a second. Yes, the Kingdom of Araby is still at war against us. Thankfully enough, the Badlands Goblins have now declared peace, which is wonderful. Thank goodness, that took a huge amount of time. And without further ado, let us head in here and rush to the aid of the villagers. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, let's do that. I was hoping that I could actually help some of our vassals, but they are apparently in here already, so don't need to worry too much. Now, Bjorg is obviously in here with Thrud as well. So let's see how well they are able to cope with the various dunes in the sand here, in the sea of death and decay that is the Tomb King land, as well as obviously the Kingdom of Araby. And now let's just make sure that, oh yes, of course, many of these units are not my units, so they are just going to be completely disregarding any hold position, and they are just going to be heading on straight here, and actually dealing a pretty considerable amount of damage. Obviously the Giant Slayers are going to be absolutely amazing against us, and yeah, very, very sad to see so many of them, that's for sure. But, oh no. Yes, I did not want to get stopped there by anything, because getting stopped usually means a death sentence. Let's tell our units just to move a little bit closer. There we have it. We can take out some of these tunnel fighters and hopefully take out this guy as well. Wow, the Giant Slayers really are very, very powerful indeed. Let's try and take out this guy. There we go. The tunnel fighters are actually very, very good, so I'm going to try and focus some of them down if I can, but of course the main thing is just to distract as many units as possible while staying alive. I have found that if we get taken out, it vastly reduces the chances of us prevailing. Obviously, right now, considering we do vastly outnumber the opponent, we really do not need to worry too much about that, but there is always the chance that we are going to have additional reinforcements coming. You never know, so just want to try and make sure that we stay alive as much as possible, and then I think we will have a good time. Obviously, then we are going to move on and see what we can do about the Kingdom of Araby vassals. They seem to have been raiding quite a few of our villages, and that in turn removes quite a lot of our income as well as our vassals' income too. I actually don't know whether they really even need income, to be honest, but I suppose it cannot hurt for them to have a reasonable amount of prosperity. So there we have it. We have helped our villagers, and we are now going to be taking as many units as we can. I don't really want to take that Araby sergeant, however, but if we head back to Martek, then I suppose we will be placing them in the garrison there. And let's just see, did I take anyone that cannot level up? No, most of them can level up, and wow, this guy actually goes into these Sultan's Guards and various other units. That's actually looking pretty nice, I gotta say. So yeah, okay, apart from that, we can take quite a few prisoners. I'm actually quite surprised that we have so many blunt weapons, or at least maybe the enemy vassal has surgery. Not entirely sure again whether that makes any difference for the AI. I've never actually done the calculations, or at least done any kind of testing on that, but it appears as though we now have the opportunity to level up more of our units right here. And there we have it. Okay, so Bjorg was taken out in that, unfortunately enough. I really do not like him being taken out because he is just so dangerous. You just want him to survive all the time so he can deal so much damage. But yes, there we are anyway. Now, let's see. Are we going to be selling anything? Well, yes, we do have Thrud's old armor there, which we are not really going to be selling. Just in case we want someone to look ridiculous, we can probably give that. Chaos Dwarf Warrior? Okay, why not? Why not do that? That sounds pretty good to me. Okay, so we have Emir Atis here, and I believe we will be, wow, using a really nice pincer movement there. Thank you, Lord Ugly Lard. He was actually coming in just at the right moment. Very, very good timing on his part. And now this guy is actually moving very fast indeed. We are literally the same speed. And Lord Ugly Lard is the same speed as well. So hopefully once it becomes daytime, we will be able to rush and completely destroy his forces. Maybe. Let's just see whether that will be the case. Maybe. There's Dawn, and there is Emir Ayam as well. I would love to get them both into the combat scenario. Wow, that is really quite lucky. We were able to get Emir Radun as well as Emir Atis. So hopefully, we will be able to take these people out very, very quickly indeed, very efficiently, and then we will be able to move on to more pressing matters, and that is, of course, eliminating many of the Dwarven vassals as well as pirate vassals. They are, of course, going to be a rather difficult thing to deal with, because obviously they have some overwhelming numbers. Not really overwhelming as such, but the pirates are known for having very good ranged units. And obviously the dwarves are exceptional in pretty much every respect. Their ranged units are very good, and their infantry is devastating, basically. So, really need to be very careful about that. And, okay, so Lord Ugly Lard decided, oh, you know what, I'm just going to throw away my life and completely run in there. And even though this is the Kingdom of Araby and they don't have the greatest units, they are known for having some reasonable archers. So we really don't want to run too far in here. I'm going to try and avoid this guy who is currently focusing us. Maybe we will be able to, I was hoping we'd be able to eliminate some of them. Obviously we are doing that, but I would have liked to have taken out the guy that was focusing us. This guy. Yes, there we are. And now we have a couple of others actually focusing us. Let's try and run away a little bit here, just to lose a little bit of their aggression, and then we will see what we can do when we arrive back. Here we go. Let's see if we can deal some extra damage. There we go. And maybe we can eliminate some of these guys as well. There we have it. Okay, wonderful. Very nice indeed. So let's just see here. Yes, 0 enemies remain, and we are now going to be heading on to more pressing matters indeed. So let's take this guy prisoner, I suppose. And we will be taking some captured enemies prisoner as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's head on over to Martek, place the prisoners in there that we have just acquired. And I'm going to be placing the Araby Sergeant in there as well. And we do have quite a few, wow, we actually have quite a few vassals of the opponents we are currently fighting prisoner. So, I'm actually wondering what Martek is building right now. If it is building a prison tower, then great, but I'm not entirely sure on the improvements, because obviously Bloodhorn has the most improvements. Well, why wouldn't it? It was our main city, and it actually was very well defended, and I am still reasonably annoyed that the dwarves were able to deal so much damage in such a short time, I suppose. But there it is. Okay, so they have improved roads, war academy, and market. Let's get the prisoner tower, shall we? That will take 18 days, and not that much money. I've got to say, that's actually pretty cheap. I like that. So, let's see. Where should we head to next? Okay, so this is currently our situation here. As you can see, The orcs are actually not doing too badly, considering we waged war against them, which was a huge error on my part. I should have waited for any potential declarations of war from other opponents to come in before we decided to do anything about them. And so yes, that was a grave mistake, unfortunately enough. But even so, I don't think we would have been able to actually defend against the dwarves anyway, even if we hadn't declared war against the orcs. And I thought to myself, well, maybe, just maybe, we would be able to go on a sieging spree against the orcs and maybe even eliminate them altogether before the dwarves had taken maybe their second or even third fief. So that was kind of the tactic that I was attempting to employ, at least, but obviously that did not work out as well as I had hoped, because then the pirates also declared war against us and we needed to retreat to defend our lands. Yeah, rather disappointing, I have to admit. So let's just see here, where should we head to? Well, I would like to head over here, see if we can eliminate some of the... Oh, there's a caravan from the Dwarf Kingdom. We might want to do that. Okay, so I'm not going to accept the offer to give them Emir Atis. I really do want to just keep him as long as possible. I really do not like the Kingdom of Araby or any other vassal with a very small force running around and attempting to, well, take quite a few villages and raid them. Okay, hand over your gold and valuables. Yes, there we go. Okay, so these guys only have 48, so we should very easily be able to eliminate them. We have 52 archers on the battlefield. That is a little overkill, perhaps. That is a little overkill. So let's just actually see what is going to go down here. Are they going to be charging us? Well, it appears this guy is deciding that it would be a good idea to charge. Probably not the best, considering. There we have it. I absolutely love this ball and chain weapon. Even though we are not allowed to have a shield with it, well, we can technically have a shield, but then it would turn the weapon into some sort of spear, and, well, you know me and spears, I am literally the worst at using the spear. So, yes, I am very happy with our two-handed ball and chain right now. And now let's just see. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's just see how well the Shadow Walkers and Forest Walkers and various other archer units are able to handle a straight-on charge right here. I am not charging in any of our infantry just yet, and yet they are still able to... Wow, look at this. They are just cutting them down. But even as I say that, even if we have 52 infantry, well, actually we say archers, we are not able to fight against as many of their infantry as well, which is really quite a shame, and that kind of makes me wonder, should I have 52 infantry instead of 52 archers? Maybe that would be a better idea. Well, obviously cavalry is going to be the greatest idea against infantry, but not too sure. I was hoping that, considering most of them didn't have shields, we would see our archers be a little bit more effective there. As you can see, as we are walking around here, many of the dwarves have huge amounts of arrows impaling inside their bodies, which is fantastic to see. Obviously, we do not like the dwarves at all, but we're going to see if we can actually, well, fight back against them. Many of their vassals do have overwhelming numbers, and especially considering all of the dwarven units do seem to be very sturdy and very solid indeed. So I'm going to try and see whether we can give ourselves a little bit of an advantage, and I'm not too sure how, because even though we have high elves, we actually have high elf archers, as we can see here. We have shadow walkers and the lower tier and the higher tier of those. I'm not entirely sure. Is there a higher tier of those? Maybe. But we also have forest walkers, which are the highest rank for our goblin archers. And we have some trolls, of course, and various other cavalry units from the high elves too. I went on a pretty decent recruiting spree in their lands. And of course we have some skeleton knights. We used to have necropolis knights, but I think most of them died in sieges, which I have to say is always disappointing to see such a powerful unit fall in a useless siege, which was actually a useless siege at the time. So, yes, there we have it. We have eliminated that caravan. So let's just take a look and see about Lucini here. It only has 42 units in the garrison, but as I stated beforehand, it is a siege tower. So, a little bit worrying. I would like to take on some of their vassals if I can. That would definitely prove our archer's might and skill. Maybe we can take this guy on. He has a reasonable amount, 116 units if all of them are healthy, and he actually has a couple of prisoners as well. Yes, I would not mind if we were able to catch this guy up. We are actually catching him very easily indeed, but just bear in mind I do like to fight in the daytime, so let's just see if we can get back to day. And then we'll see if we can actually take this guy out, and how easy it is to take him out, because do bear in mind he has, okay, he only has one pirate ogre. I was actually anticipating him to have many more, but it appears we are quite lucky in that regard. So let us now take to the field and see what we're able to do. Unfortunately, we are in the rain, so that is going to affect our range. Or at least as far as I'm aware it is going to. So, let's see here. They have 55 on the battlefield. We have 71. And we do have a an undefeated champion here, as well as some mummies. Okay, so let's just take a look here. What are we going to do? Well, I suppose we'll just let many of our archers fire off. Let's place our infantry a little bit closer, just so that we can separate the varying forces that we have, and that pirate ogre must die. And there we have it. We took it out, but unfortunately then we were also eliminated, so I gotta say that that is quite disappointing, considering now our units are not in a charge order, and we are gonna have maybe some difficulties. Let's just see how it goes. It may not actually affect the outcome at all, because we do have so many archers. It may just mean that our infantry and cavalry are going to have more difficulties chasing down our opponents. So, it's actually not going too badly. I've got to say that we seem to be eliminating many of them, and that is primarily due to our cavalry right now. And, oh yes, wouldn't that be amazing? Yes, I've actually just thought, if we had a really good ambush tactic, so for example, we could draw many of the pirate vassals to follow us, and we would have, well, shall we say, an overwhelming cavalry army of skeleton knights and dragon princes and so forth, and then we would be able to very easily eliminate all of the pirate vassals, as most of their units, or shall we say the good units, are gunners, technically, and archers, well, gunners, and yeah, that would mean that cavalry, we would just completely destroy them. Although, even though we are actually doing quite well, we are still losing quite a few casualties, mainly because of the cannoneers and the various other very powerful units when you get close up. If they just shoot you in the face, then obviously it's going to cause a great deal of damage. But yes, I was really hoping to stay alive a little bit longer there. And the pirate ogre, yeah, I really should not have prioritized him as a target, because even though he does a significant amount of damage, he is primarily good in a siege. So probably best to be a little careful about that in future, and not maybe run in where everyone fears to tread. Oh yes. So let's just see, what can we take here? Well, we can take some Araby units. Not incredibly pleased about that. But what can you do, I suppose? Okay, so we do have a pistol here as well. I'd love to be able to use a pistol again. I remember using a pistol on Slythe, but yes, not entirely sure with this guy. Probably not. He is using a very, very good bow. And there is actually a Skaven unit. He's actually doing quite well. As you can see, he has 13 Eshin assassins, and quite a few rat riders and fang vermin. 9 rat ogres. Wow. Do not want to get on that guy's bad side. Okay, so let us move over and see if we can scout this town here a little bit. Now, this... let's see. What is actually going on here? Oh my. Okay, so this is probably the reason why it was a good idea to retreat beforehand. This fellow has 24. I say again, 24 pirate ogres. That is... Wow. I have no words. I have no words for that. That is absolutely amazing. That is very impressive indeed. Okay, so we're just going to chase after my namesake over here. James Vane must perish. Let us take him out. There we go. We must try to thin out as many of their vassals as we can, because even though the dwarves are very powerful and they probably should be a priority target for us, right now I am preferring to attack the pirates, because the dwarves, to me, if they are well solidified, if they have a good advantage in some kind of environment, like for example this right here gives us a huge advantage, and if we were fighting against the dwarves here, I would have a very good level of confidence. However, considering many of the times that we actually fight the dwarves, we are on even ground, and it is, in most cases, pretty, well, shall we say, pretty bad. And we are at a disadvantage most of the time, considering many of their infantry units are able to use the terrain to their advantage, able to block many of the projectiles going towards them with whatever hill or mountainous region it may be. But right now, look at this. Just look at all of the projectiles, look at all of the arrows just raining down on our opponents right now, and they are really not able to do anything. Look at it. That is exactly what we need against the dwarves, and I actually think in future, if we do not get a good environment, we may just want to retreat and head back in and see if we get a different one, which would actually be a rather good idea, I feel. So let's just see if we're actually able to get some kills with our bow right now. We do have some reasonable horse archery skill, so we could make good use of it, perhaps. Of course, it is... Whoa, okay, we were actually able to get a kill there. That is rather impressive. Well, nevertheless, let us try to eliminate many more of these units here. Let's just see if I can shoot off a couple more arrows. I'm not entirely sure on the projectile curvature here, but we are actually getting a couple of kills, I gotta say. That's quite impressive. Not entirely sure how that is even possible right now, considering I am atrocious at shooting on a horse. Yes, well, at least we are distracting some of them. I suppose we can take that away from this. Oh my! There appears to be a very large force of units coming in here. Let's try not to get killed again, shall we? Come on, Ratlob, we must survive. Come on. Let's do this. Yes. Yes, okay, good. Ooh, lovely headshot as well. Very nice. Okay, now if we can actually get some long-range action going on here, that would be rather wonderful, but do bear in mind we have a huge amount of arrows, so don't really need to worry too much about that. Now, if I could actually... Yes, there we are. Deal some damage to them, that would be wonderful. Yes, I am not used to this bow at all, as you can probably see. This bow is quite new, and... Oh, cannoneers. We must eliminate these. I'll get out my ball and chain and take out this guy. There we go, thank you. And now let's move our units a little bit down the hill, because many of their units have now been vanquished, and there's only 5 left. So, yeah, we can easily take these guys out, hopefully. Oh, there we go. That cannoneer was about to shoot us in the face with a huge amount of, well, flak and various other... Well, I would say musket balls? Well, I'm not actually sure what the cannoneers use, because they're not using cannonballs, of course. They are using a lot of musket shot, I suppose. That's probably what they are using. It seems as though that is what the pirate ogres use anyway. So there it is. There's only one enemy remaining, and I think that we have run out of arrows. So yes, many of our units are now just standing there doing literally nothing, which was my mistake. Probably should have charged them in a little bit earlier than that, but as we can see, we had an extremely bad ratio with our surgery percentage right there. 6 units killed to 7 total in casualties. That is Really quite a shame. So we're going to be letting this guy go. You never know, he may actually join us in the future. And there we have it. So let's move on from that. And let's see actually what's going on here. Oh, a Plague Lord. He has quite a few, wow, quite a few powerful units there. Okay, so this particular area right here is almost purged of many of the vassals that the pirates currently have. They have 2 remaining. We might actually decide to take on this pirate ogre, but not in this episode, and that marks the end of this one. And so, I thank you very much for watching, as we level up a couple of units here, and I will see you next time.